Good morning. I'm Nicole McLaughlin, and I'm one member of your 7-member Ministerial Search Committee. You know why we're here today. We're really excited. Thank you. Thank you for trusting us with the daunting task of identifying a ministerial candidate for the First Church in Salem. 400 years. Imagine that. For 400 years, the people of this church have been walking together, owning our history, looking ahead, striving to live the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. Imagine. Thank you for taking hours to complete our survey, review the results, read our updates, and offer your thoughts. Thank you for making yourself vulnerable in our cottage chats, for coming with your heart in your hands, earnest in your expressions of personal needs and hopes for the First Church. Thank you for trusting us, to hold this information and to examine it gently and with compassion. Thank you. This has been an intense 6 months during which the committee has come to trust the UUA process and one another. In fact, one of the things we were told last fall was that the most important quality we could bring to our role was one of curiosity. That it was more important to ask questions of others on the committee than it was to advance or advocate a position. And in fact, that our job was not to convince others to think the way we did, but to listen carefully and try to understand why they felt differently. Speaking as someone who's trained as a lawyer, that can be really challenging. I couldn't be prouder of this committee. We are a collection of extroverts and introverts, or Christian, atheist, and agnostic. Some of us charge ahead, others proceed with caution. All of us love this church. And all of us are very, very excited to bring before you ministerial candidate Elizabeth M. I. Elizabeth I. Wow. So, who is she? A few descriptors come immediately to mind. Love for everyone. Quiet fortitude. Sly humor. Skilled community builder. Believer in people. One of the first things we noticed about Elizabeth was her extraordinary listening skills. Truly extraordinary. She asked us questions that stopped us in our tracks and made us ponder. She listened intently, infinitely curious about who we are and what we need. She wanted to make sure that this would be a good match for everyone. Her intellectual depth is apparent. Her sermons are characterized by quiet passion. She recognizes that words are heard differently by different people. When my sermons are focused on challenging issues, she says. I am especially intentional to weave themes of hope and compassion into the message, and will acknowledge that a plurality of perspectives exist. Pastor I has a broad, nuanced understanding of theology and a profound respect for our traditions and rituals. During this process, many of you expressed a fear that things could change too quickly. It wasn't so much a fear of change, more fear of the pace of any change. Elizabeth wants to help us explore the meaning of our worship together and help us decide when and if change would be constructive. Her strength is in creating a safe space for tender conversations and giving them a context within our spiritual heritage and the future we dream of. Elizabeth is highly skilled in resolving conflict and creating space for authentic relationships. She says, "It's important to me to draw out and integrate multiple perspectives into decisions and actions." She believes that the best and most sustainable results come when group members share responsibility for process as well as outcome. We know she lives out her values in her actions. She speaks compellingly about being a minister in Charlottesville during the race-based violence in 2018. She says, "My ministry is about showing up. My ministry is about showing up for the moments when love is needed most. Routines of life and pivotal events alike call for a responsive, sincere presence that comes from the heart and reaches out to build connections and create meaning." Having been a teacher, Elizabeth cherishes the role of children in our community. She eagerly looks for ways to integrate children into worship, as well as into other church endeavors. So that sly humor thing that I mentioned, well, we saw it less than 2 minutes into our first interaction with her. We were all sitting around Lynn's dining room table, focused on this little camera and computer to do a Skype interview with her. And we had examined for hours every little bit of information that we could find about her. So it was a really relaxed scenario. As these things go, it was a little staticky, and we couldn't really understand a few of her first sentences. So we asked her to repeat them. She sort of looked down really quickly, had a little smirk, and said, "Well, I don't remember precisely what I said, but I'm sure it was profound." With that quick response, she immediately set everybody at ease. "We think you'll like her." It's time for us to pass Elizabeth on to you. The next step is for you, the congregation, to meet Pastor Ride during Kennedy. You'll have a chance to meet her over coffee and crafts, potlucks, and pizza. You'll hear her preach on 2 Sundays. It's our hope that you'll come together on May 5th to call Pastor Elizabeth Hyde as the 32nd minister of the First Church in Salem, Unitarian Universalist. Imagine.
For nearly 400 years, the core of your coming together at First Church is expressed in these phrases from the covenant. And to bind ourselves in the presence of God, to walk together in all God's ways. Here, in Salem, 390 years ago, 30 folks who believed they could perfect themselves and the world agreed to walk together and to decide together democratically what their future should be and who their leaders should be. They founded your church, which was and is the first congregationally governed church in North America. What a scary thing to do. Right there, standing on the edge of what was to them a wilderness. Where did they get the courage? It's a question not unlike the one we ask about Jesus as he approaches his last days in Jerusalem. Where did he get the nerve? And of course, that question makes me think of today's scripture, of the village of Bethany, of Lazarus' daughter Mary anointing Jesus' feet with priceless perfume before Jesus leaves on his final journey. Mary, you see, loves Jesus into his future. And her caring says, you can do this. Your first church forebears had only each other, and so they bound themselves together in the love of God that said, yes, we can do this. They loved each other into a future of hope. You are the inheritors of that hope planted so long ago. Your inheritance makes you stewards of that hope today. This is a profound and a sustaining. Jesus needed Mary's love as much as she needed to show him how much she cared for him. That's pretty much how love works, how relationships work. Because here's the thing, to do what you are afraid to do, what you have to do, even if you want to do it, you need someone else saying, yes, you can do this. You need another person loving you into your future. Jesus was loved into his future by remarkable women. Among them his friend Lazarus' daughter, Mary. Again, you are the inheritors of that kind of profound and sustaining hope. And what a perfect day to cherish the gift of that inheritance. The historic day that First Church receives a cis female candidate for Senate ministry. The first time in almost 4 centuries that your congregation could be served by a woman pastor. She your candidate might well be asking herself, as Jesus did in Bethany, how can I do what I need to do? Have to do. Even want to do. How can I do it without the congregation saying, yes, you can do this? Without the first church stewards of hope loving her into the future. And of course, without that hope, your candidate will not be able to do it. May I humbly urge you now, as you begin to think about your candidate, that you refrain from being overly critical. That will come, don't worry. 390 years ago, when the 30 folks walking together on the edge of the Salem wilderness democratically called and ordained the Reverend Samuel Skelton to be this church's first pastor, they felt blessed just to have a candidate. They were more than ready to love him into their future. Times have changed. Congregations have become cranky and critical while considering the qualities of their ministerial candidate. Not you, of course, but many Unitarian Universalist congregations. My friend John Nichols points out, today our expectations for ministers are so much higher than they have ever been. We come to church seeking a caring community because our world is so rushed and pulled apart by competing pressures that a dreadful impersonality creeps into the places where we live and work. We come to church hoping to find support for our individual journeys because, unlike generations before us, we are convinced that our lives should be better, that we in fact are entitled to better lives. We come to church looking for the prophetic voice that takes on expressions where just recently these things were not even known as oppressions. Nearly every congregation that is looking for a minister this year is looking for a community builder, someone who can help build their church in the loving, forgiving, indulgent, creative, redemptive community. Build it into that community which, of course, has eluded humankind for generations. This, too, is projected on to the candidate. And so your candidate comes forward carrying the weight of very heavy expectation. That was not so 390 years ago, and even until recently, most people expected very little of those who climbed this high pulpit. In the 19th century, it was always the least able child that was encouraged to train for the ministry. Consequently, if ministerial candidates did even one thing well, their parishioners were delighted. For example, William Ellery Channing gave great sermons, but it was very hard to hear him. In fact, most people couldn't understand what he was saying. He was not a powerful preacher. And if you tried to get to know him, you found that the closer you got to him, the more he withdrew. Channing, who spoke so feelingly about love and fellowship, was actually very uncomfortable outside the confines of his family. You are blessed with a wonderful candidate. And so, with every day that passes now, I become much less critical to the life of this congregation. And that's as it should be. My work here is coming to an end. In my waning time of limited influence, I urge you again, as stewards of hope, to think more lovingly than critically about your candidate. Let me turn to a related matter. How are you going to pay for all this hope? Well, to do it, you are going to have to be steadfast stewards of hope. And by that I mean it's imperative that everyone makes a financial pledge to First Church. When your founders agreed to walk together, they also democratically agreed to share their common wealth. To last another 400 years, improving lives and the world will take financial resources in every generation. Your time is now. The goal is 100% participation in the poll. Please fill out your pledge card, turn it in, and wear your Steward of Hope t-shirt with gratitude for all that has gone before and all that will come. Your church was and is the first free church, the first congregationally governed church in North America. The founders were, like you, an independent-minded group. They stood against British governors by insisting on compensating Native Americans for land instead of stealing it. And they opposed the colony government's intrusion into the life of the local church. This is your legacy of hope. Love it and your candidate into the future.